Waking up in the morning and reading through the Bible. Welcome to another episode. We are reading through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, trying to get an understanding of what the Lord has to say. And we have made it to Deuteronomy chapter 11. And pretty much we're just in the same spot where we were. Moses is reiterating the laws to the children of Israel because he's about to pass on. And today we will talk about loving and obeying God and sacrificing on one altar only. So we will read there today. If you have your Bibles, if you have your notes, please feel free to ask any questions and we will get those answered so that everyone can understand. And we will go. Chapter 1. Therefore thou shalt love the Lord thy God and keep his charge and his statutes and his judgments and commandments always. And know you this day, for I speak not with your children which have not known and which have not seen the chastisement of the Lord your God, his greatness, his mighty hand, and his stretched out arm, and his miracles and his acts, which he did in the midst of Egypt unto Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and unto all his land. And what he did unto the army of Egypt, unto their horses and to their chariots, how he made the water of the Red Sea to overflow them as they pursued after you, and how the Lord has destroyed them unto this day. And what he did unto you in the wilderness until you came into this place. And what he did unto Dathan and to Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the son of Reuben, how the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed them up, and their households and their tents, and all the substance that was in their possession and in the midst of Israel. But your eyes have seen all the great acts of the Lord which he did. Therefore shall you keep all the commandments which I command you this day, that you may be strong and go in and possess the land whither you go to possess it, and that you may prolong your days in the land which the Lord sware unto you and your fathers to give unto them and to their seed, a land that flows with milk and honey. For the land whither thou go in to possess it is not as the land of Egypt, from whence ye came out, where thou sowest thy seed and watered it with thy foot as a garden of herbs. But the land, whither you go to possess it, is a land of hills and valleys and drinks of water of the rain of heaven, a land which the Lord thy God cares for. The eyes of the Lord thy God are always upon it, from the beginning of the year even unto the end of the year. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in due season, the first rain and the latter rain, and thou mayest gather in thy corn and thine wine and thine oil. And I will send grass in thy field for thy cattle, that thou mayest eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. And then the Lord's wrath be kindled against you and be shut up in the heaven, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, lest ye perish quickly from off the good land which the Lord gives you. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as a frontlets before your eyes. And ye shall teach them to your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by thy way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thine house and upon thy gates, that your days may be multiplied, and the days of your children, in the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers to give them, as the days of heaven upon the earth. For if you shall diligently keep all these commandments which I command you, to do them, to love your God, to walk in all his ways, and to cleave unto him, then will the Lord drive out all these nations from before you, and ye shall possess greater nations and mightier than yours. Every place whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours, from the wilderness of Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even to the uttermost sea shall be your coast be. There shall no man be able to stand before you, For the Lord your God shall lay the fear of you and the dread of you upon the land that ye tread upon, as he said unto you. Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command unto you this day, and a curse if you will not obey the commandments of the Lord your God. But turn aside out of the way which I command you this day to go after other gods which you have not known. And it shall come to pass when the Lord thy God has brought thee into the land where you go to possess it, that thou shalt put the blessing upon Mount Gerizim and the curse upon Mount Ebal. Are they not on the other side of Jordan, by the way where the sun goes down, in the land of the Canaanites, which dwell in the campaign over against Gilgal, beside the plains of Moreh? For ye shall pass over Jordan to go in to possess the land which the Lord your God giveth you, and ye shall possess it and dwell therein. And ye shall observe to do all the statutes and judgments which I set before you this day. These are the statutes and judgments which ye shall observe to do in the land which the Lord thy God has given to your fathers to possess it, all the days that you live upon the earth. Ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which ye shall possess serve their gods, upon the high mountains and upon the hills and under every green tree. And ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire. Ye shall hew down the graven images of their God and destroy the names of them out of this place. Ye shall not do so unto the Lord your God, but unto the place which the Lord your God shall choose out of all the tribes to put his name there, even unto his habitation shall ye seek, and there thou shalt come. And there ye shall bring your burnt offerings and your sacrifices and your tithes and heap offerings of the land, and your vows and your freewill offerings, and the firstlings of your herds and of your flocks. And there ye shall eat before the Lord your God, and ye shall rejoice in all that you put your hand unto, ye and your households, wherein the Lord thy God has blessed thee. Ye shall not do after all the things that we do here this day, every man whatsoever is right in his own eyes. For ye are not as yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which the Lord your God gives you. But when ye go over Jordan and dwell in the land which the Lord your God gives you to inherit, and when he gives you rest from all the enemies round about, so that you dwell in safety, then there shall be a place which the Lord your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. There you shall bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings and your sacrifices, your tithes and your heap offerings of your hand, and all your choice vows which ye vow unto the Lord. And ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God, ye and all your sons, and your daughters, and your men servants, and your maidservants, and the Levite that is within your gates, for as much as he has no part nor inheritance with you. Take heed to thyself that thou offer not thy burnt offerings in every place that thou seest, but in the place which the Lord shall choose in one of my tribes, there thou shalt offer your burnt offerings, and there thou shalt do all that I command thee. Notwithstanding, thou mayest kill and eat the flesh in all thy gates, whatsoever thy soul lust after, according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he gives to you. The unclean and the clean meat may eat thereof, as of the roebuck and of the hart. Only ye shall not eat the blood, ye shall pour it upon the earth as water. Thou mayest not eat within thy gates the tithe of thy corn, or of thy wine, or of thy oil, or the firstlings of thy herds, or of the flock, nor any of thy vows which thou vowest, nor thy freewill offerings, or the heap offering of thine hand. But thou must eat them before the Lord thy God in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, thou and thy son, and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levite that is within thy gates. And thou shalt rejoice before the Lord thy God in all that thou puttest thine hands unto. Take heed to thyself that thou forsake not the Levite as long as you live upon the earth. When the Lord thy God shall enlarge thy border, as he has promised thee, and thou shalt say, I will eat the flesh, because thy soul longs to eat the flesh, thou mayest eat flesh whatsoever thy soul lust after. If the place which the Lord thy God has chosen to put his name there be too far from thee, that thou shalt kill of thy herd and of thy flock which the Lord has given to thee, as I have commanded thee, and thou shalt eat in thy gates whatsoever thy soul lust after. Even as the roebuck and as the hart is eaten, so thou shalt eat them, and the unclean and the clean shall eat of them alike. Only be sure not to eat the blood, for the blood is in the life. For the blood is the life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. Thou shalt not eat it, thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. Thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of the Lord. Only thy holy things which thou hast, and thy vows thou shalt take and go unto the place which the Lord shall choose. And thou shalt offer thy burnt offering, the flesh and the blood, upon the altar of thy Lord, and the blood of thy sacrifices shall be poured out upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt eat the flesh. Observe and hear all the words which the Lord I command thee, that it may go well with thee and with the children after thee forever, when thou doest that which is good and right in the sight of the Lord God. When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whether thou go to possess it, and thou succeedest them and dwell in their land, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, How did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord which he hates have they done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. What thing whatsoever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto nor diminish from it. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or a wonder come to pass, whereof he spake of it unto thee, saying, Let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or the dreamer of dreams, for the Lord your God proves you to know whether you love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall walk after the Lord your God and fear him, and keep his commandments and obey his voice, and you shall serve him and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has spoken to you to turn away from the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which the Lord thy God commanded thee to walk in. So shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or thy wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is in thine own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, Let us go down and serve other gods which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers, namely of the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far from thee, from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth, thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thine eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him. But if thou shalt surely kill him, thy hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people. And thou shalt stone him with stones that he die, because he has sought to thrust thee away from the Lord thy God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. And all Israel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as is among you. If thou shalt hear, say in one of thy cities which the Lord thy God gives thee, to dwell therein, saying, Certain men, the children of Belial, are gone out from among you, and have drawn the inhabitants of their city, saying, Let us go and serve other gods which you have not known. Then shalt thou inquire and make search and ask diligently, and behold, if it be true, and the thing certain that such abomination is wrought among you, thou shalt surely smite the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly, and all that is there within, and the cattle thereof with the edge of the sword. And thou shalt gather all the spoil of it, even into the midst of the street thereof, and shalt burn with fire the city, and all the spoil thereof with, for the Lord thy God, and it shall be a heap forever, and it shall not be built again. And there shall cleave not of the cursed thing to thine hand, that the Lord may turn from the fierceness of his anger, and show thee mercy, and have compassion upon thee, and multiply thee, as he has sworn unto thy fathers. When thou hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep all his commandments which I command thee this day, to do that which is right in the sight of the Lord your God. Let's see. I think we can get through chapter 14. So we are Deuteronomy chapter 14. Ye and all the children of your Lord your God, ye shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. And the Lord has chosen thee to be a peculiar people upon himself, above all the nations that are upon the earth. Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. These are the beasts which ye shall eat: the ox, the sheep, and the goat, the hart, and the roebuck, and the fallow deer, and the wild goat, and the pargarg, and the wild ox, and the shamosh. And every beast that parts the hoof and cleaves to the hoof into two claws, and chews the cud against the beast, that ye shall eat. Nevertheless, these ye shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the cloven hoof, as the camel, and the hare, and the coney, for they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof. Therefore they are unclean to you. And the swine, because it divides the hoof, yet chews not the cud, it is unclean unto you. You shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. These you shall eat of all that are in the waters, all that have fins and scales shall you eat. And whosoever has not fins and scales, ye may not eat. It is unclean to you. Of all the clean birds ye shall eat, but these are they of which ye shall not eat: the eagle, the ossifrage, and the osprey, and the glede, and the kite, and the vulture after his kind, and every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the night hawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, the little owl, and the great owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gear angle, and the cormorant, and the stork, and the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. And every creeping thing that flies is unclean to you. They shall not be eaten. But of all the clean fowls you may eat. You shall not eat anything that dies of itself. Thou shalt not give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates, that he may eat of it, or mayest sell it unto the alien. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed that the field brings forth year after year. And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which you shall choose to place his name there: the tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thy oil, and the firstlings of thy herds and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always. And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from thee, which the Lord thy God choose to set his name there, when the Lord thy God has blessed it, thou shalt turn it into money, and it shall bind up the money in thine hand, and shall go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lust after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatever thy soul desire. And thou shalt eat that before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thine household. And the Levite that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him, for he has no part nor inheritance with thee. At the end of 3 years, thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thine increase the same year, and shall lay it up within the gates. And the Levite, because he has no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow within thy gates, shall come and shall eat and be satisfied, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hand which thou doest. Okay. That brought us up to Deuteronomy chapter 15, and that is where we will pick up tomorrow. So, moving quickly through chapter Deuteronomy. Yeah. All right. So I will see you all tomorrow at 6:30, and we will continue to read through this Bible. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great week. Remember to stay prayed up, because the enemy is walking around as a roaring lion, trying to see who he will devour. Okay. All right. See you next time.